of the GE is coming, right? Any of these, I don't know, Rose, did you hear of any opposition or any of the ruling party members? Has any one of them spoken about to raise awareness or campaign on better educating everyone about mental disorders?
Honestly, I have not been engaged in their campaigning as much as I would like to, because my industry is very busy because of COVID as well. Like, we all are adapting to coming back to school. So, but what I have heard, like the closest thing that I have read on this matter by one individual is, I think the lady Risa Khan.
WPs, is it?
Yeah.
WPs.
Like she's trying to normalize, at least for herself and whoever's in the network, about mental health. How she goes for therapy.
Right. Yeah. I remember that she mentioned.
So that's something. It's not mental illness or mental disabilities or disorders, but she's opening a conversation.
That's true.
I don't know whether she's opening it to the correct market, which is like older Singaporeans and not the woke to now voting Singaporeans lah. But at least there's a conversation, because that I don't think therapy, like during the CB circuit breaker, I think some therapies were like non-essential.
Oh yeah.
Like no. Some people need the therapy. It really is like their routine. They have to keep up to it, So I don't know. So I give it to is it her name? I don't get her name wrong.
Raisa Khan.
Yeah, that's right.
I give it to her for like putting her situation out there, because no one talks about it. It is so hard to talk about it because it's so shamed upon. That's why it's so like, you go therapy. Why you go therapy? But when actually like, oh sure, yeah. Because like, let's say for example, in some parts of the world, it's like, yeah, these people go for therapy for this person has gone for it since their teenagehood, and it has helped them navigate through their life. But over here, it's why? We still have to ask why. Like, they go lah, let them go lah.
No, why is one thing, and oh my God, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, are you
That's
okay?
another thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always looked down upon.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the cut.
But essentially it's just like going to the gym for some people. Like some people go to the gym to regulate. Some people need to speak to a professional to regulate also lah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I really wish that the school system, they talk about this, it's like a topic in, I don't know, is civics and moral education still part of the syllabus?
It is.
But don't have like.
But the idea, the topic of your friends are different from you is not very clearly taught. Like maybe to the point of like different races, different religion.
Right.
But you never, our time, I've never heard someone taught a class that, hey, this kid may be different from you because his brain is different. And it is okay. The message is, it is okay. No one has talked about that.
Yeah.
You know how different people have different lung capacity. Like I have asthma, some people don't have asthma. So like lung capacity is different or heart is different. Like the brain is an organ. The brain could be different too,
Yeah, definitely.
That's true.
So schools don't talk about it yet, but I can advocate for one thing, is that MOE has started to focus more on this thing called peer learning or peer support, I think, where they open up mainstream schools to take in more persons with special needs, but somewhat can adapt to mainstream learning and mainstream environment. So they want to expand the number of students with special needs in mainstream schools to integrate the two worlds. But I think it's still quite new at this stage. 1 or 2 years, maybe. Yeah, very new.
I think I've seen some news about it. I think some primary school actually takes in students who have hearing impairments. So they actually have a class for them to where they can actually learn, and the teacher or there's a staff there who can sign language.
That's one. But for me already, I know before this particular thing I mentioned, it's 1-2 year old thing. Before that, MOE has already had special needs students in their mainstream schools where they are supposed to be supported by the school counsellors and their allied educators who are trained in learning LBS. What is LBS for? Learning something like, it's not the academics allied educator, it's a special needs education allied educator.
Right.
Yeah,
they've
so I think
really began to employ such special people, specialist people, is it?
way back when, like
way
maybe
back already,
5 years ago, they started doing that, and then now they're, I think, expanding the program to include more students into the school system so that the school cohort can adapt to having diversified
I see.
persons in the school grounds, yeah, in their cohorts.
But in your opinion, people with mental disorders, do you feel that they should be separated from the mainstream education, or do you feel that they should all be integrated?
I think it goes on case by case. In the sense that if the individual can handle the challenges of being in mainstream school, we have prepared the individual to look out for this. This is how you respond if you see this. If you need help, this is how you ask for help. If you see this is wrong, don't do that. If you see this is good, you can join them. If you can guide that person and prep them and then support them, just support, not just prep, but just support them through that system, then there'll be a good way to integrate. But there definitely will be persons, at least persons on the spectrum, who will not have that level of independence and will always need someone to guide them, be a therapist, a family member, a friend. So I think one pop culture reference that really I don't think it gets talked about enough, at least in my network, is the Big Bang Theory Sheldon.
Right. Yes.
Because they don't say out loud Sheldon's diagnosis or whatsoever. It's even a joke, like the mother say, I got him tested.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow up with one doctor in I don't know where. So the joke that we don't really know because the mother never checked that last doctor.
Yeah.
But you see the way the friends differentiate their lives and adapt around him. So when his best friend wants to move out, they don't just move out. They sequentially, slowly fade off the idea of with a friend. And then want to move in with his girlfriend, Sheldon slowly moved in with the girlfriend according to schedule.
Yeah.
All that. So like they differentiate and make do and adapt to the person that they love. And then that person thrive in their life from his home in Texas with his mom and then back into the city life and everything. So that is the idea that I'm trying to say, which is adapt to the ability of these individuals. It's because what do you have to lose? Because they cannot understand you, but you can kind of investigate and slowly understand them.
Yeah.
So you are their guiding star versus, and then actually you learn a lot from them also lah. You just learn to simplify your life and then like, okay, what is really a problem? What is not a problem? Let's handle this together. That kind of thing.
Right. Now you just make me want to watch the Big Bang Theory rerun.
Yeah. All the way from season 1.
Yeah. I think in all of these, the one thing that lacks is a strong support system.
Yes.
For anyone in question.
Yeah.
You know, even in my time, I can remember in my secondary school, there were a few individuals which people tend to like avoid because they might be suffering from this kind of disorders. I still remember, and my school being a gangster school, okay, by gangster school, I mean there's a lot of, back then it was the high time of secret society, yeah, and there were a lot of fights involved and everything. And I clearly remember that a lot of times these people who was identified to be avoided, they were frequently bullied.
Easy target.
Easy target, yes, that's right. And because secret society was a big thing back then, they were like the easiest target to be bullied. You know.
Yeah.
Again, it really lacks the thing that I was talking about. The lacking part is the strong support system, and I don't know, Rose. What is your recommendation for people to be less ignorant about such things?
I think it starts from, I want to say starts from home, but if the home doesn't have individuals with disorders, mental disorders, then it's going to be hard. So maybe I think give attention to to the society even more, like the community, in terms of when you hear of events like Autism Awareness Month. Just take that time to find out what are the latest news in Singapore's autism society. Like, you can literally Google Singapore 2019 autism news, and then just like read a bit more about like what's going on in your area, because I cannot ask someone to just, hey, read about UK's autism research. Like, you will so understand. You won't. But if you can understand like certain families in Singapore, what they have been doing, what they've gone through, what societies we have in Singapore, like Google how many special needs schools we have in Singapore. What does Rainbow Centre do? What does Minds do? What does Meta do? Like Cerebral Palsy Association of Singapore, what do they do? So like it's things around you that you may have seen but you have never thought about. Or IMH, what is IMH all about? Is it really a hospital? Is it a place where you put people and then you push them aside? Is it what does it do? And then that's maybe you feel some kind of personal connection. So right now people are not linked or sympathize or empathize with folks with special needs because they may not expressively, or they don't know one person who has it, which they probably are wrong. There's already someone in their society who has some kind of diagnosis, and that person is masking it pretty well if you don't realize it.
Yeah, that's very good info.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't have a personal connection, you don't know anything.
Was it?
If you don't have a personal connection, you don't understand something that you can relate to, you will never understand it. So that's why read Singapore's one if you're in Singapore. If you're in Malaysia, read about Malaysia one. Yeah.
Yeah, every country
Different.
different. Yeah, they have different kind of, I would say, manifesto.
Yeah, wow.
I would say that there is some similarity, like you wouldn't, if you notice, if you ever meet a person on the spectrum, they usually speak English because it's very hard to guide them into mother tongue unless they are language inclined. So even the similarity around the world is most of the persons on the spectrum speak English and sound accented because a lot of them would have learned through videos or therapists who are American trained, Australian trained, UK trained.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's some similarities around the world, but adapting to culture may be different. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I want to paint you a scenario.
Sure.
Where maybe in a bus stop, a public bus stop, and some person were to be approached by someone who has ASD, right? What would be your advice to that person?
I don't think that person will know they're being approached by ASD person to begin with. Maybe I'll help you paint the scenario even more.
Sure, yes.
Have a few more brushes and crayons.
I'm a person at the bus stop. Someone comes along and then they look very frazzled because they seem to they just like cannot stop shaking, or they're sweating, and then they just do it profusely. They're doing it for 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes is already very long for someone to just shake and shake and shake, right? So you naturally, if you see someone shake, what you do? Maybe some people walk away. That's your choice. But some people will say, hey, how are you okay or not?
Yeah.
And that's fine to say to anyone on the spectrum. Hi, are you okay? Yeah. Hi, are you okay? The person, if doesn't respond, give some space. Because naturally, if someone you see shaking and like lost and like walking in circles, you also don't approach and encroach their personal space, right? You're like, hey bro, are you okay? Hey, miss, are you okay? That kind of thing. And then if they still cannot, if you don't respond to you, they continue. You don't enter their space, or you just watch some more, right? So I would say ask a few times, give them some time to respond. If you suspect already that this person is not neurotypical, then they need time because they probably didn't hear you the first 5 times. And then if the person stops or comes down by themselves, they seem to figure out what the direction is. Okay lah, like normal people, you see someone figure it out, you walk away, right? So if they say, if the person verbalize, say, I need help, or I don't know where I am, or is this bus here? They probably were processing their words in that manner. So they need time, no matter how young or how grown they are, how independent and or non-independent they are. Sometimes they all, like us, when we are upset or affected, we need more time to just figure out our minds, like our ideas. So some like maybe neurotypicals can sit down and like breathe and calm down themselves and like, okay, this is my plan. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. But for them, it may be a physical reaction of like, I need to shake, I need to rock because I cannot tahan what's going on in my mind. And that's not even their words, that's my words. In their head, it's probably like, I don't know. It could be anything that's going on in their mind. So how do you approach a person who you don't suspect has autism versus a person who has autism? Is kind of the same, isn't it? You want to give some time. You say, boy, miss, girl, sir, are you okay? They respond, have a conversation. They don't respond, give some more time. Maybe they will figure it out. Maybe they won't figure it out. If it really escalates, then there's another series of things you can do lah. But if a person, I would think families and support systems will not leave a person who is very who cannot self-regulate to be on their own outside in public.
Oh, that makes sense.
But over time, but not at that point in time lah.
Oh, that's fantastic advice.
Yeah, that's a good tip just in case like in the future.
Yeah.
So you all better take note, ah. All right. So
are you autistic? Please don't.
Can you repeat that again?
Do not say to anybody whether you suspect or don't suspect. You autistic, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I laugh now, but I'm pretty sure there are people who actually have said it.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl.
People.
Like, some ignorant guy just comes, girl. Hey, you autistic, is it?
Yeah. There are young people who say, tu bunyi macam orang. That kind of I've heard people go like, budak tu bunyi macam autistic.
So pedas.
Dia pasal bunyi macam orang, how orang tu ketawa macam orang pekak ketawa. Orang pekak ketawa. Wow.
Yeah.
How privileged are you to say that laughter is derogatory? How unaware and privileged are you? So maybe your unaware and privilege is something your life has given you. So I feel like every time that happens, like, should I educate? Should I not educate?
I think that's the thing though. People are very quick to judge.
Yeah.
When they see something weird outside and they just it's like a second nature.
Because we understand they have never experienced it firsthand. They have never spoken. Maybe have never realized they've spoken to someone on some kind of that has a disorder, has a diagnosis. So I would say you kind of have to. It is really a point of I want to know what's going on in my society. Read about people who are not like me. What kind of people not like me? People who are not my race. People not my religion. People who don't have the same benefits, physicality as me. People who don't have the same mental strength as me. So it's something you have to sit and think. But if I were to advise again people out there, like just find out what does IMH do? What does the special needs schools do? What does this term mean? What does that term mean? Because you hear it every day, or you hear it not every day, but like in your life. But do you know what it means?
Yeah.
Act on it. Act on it. It's fine to have curiosity, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's everyone needs to know lah.
Yeah.
Because
it only benefits.
Guys, you can just Google it also.
Yeah, because
not sure.
you are living in a society. If you're living in a mountaintop somewhere, remote world, right? Then of course, you have every right not to know.
Yeah.
And because everyone's in a society and you are part of it. There's not much excuse for you to say, actually I don't really know, or I don't want to know. That's even worse.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we
yes.
Sorry.
Back to the video.
Yeah.
My sister is also she does psychology, and she's a early childhood educator who's also have some experiences dealing with students of hers who has mental disorders. So she just wants, because I was asking her whether she wants to come on board and to chime in anything or not. But she said she was too busy this weekend, and she asked me to read an excerpt what she typed. So she said, this is based on the video. She got very, very angry lah, of course. Got very agitated and everything. So she said, working with individuals who requires special needs is not an easy task. It takes a lot of commitment, patience and passion. People often forget that being a behavioral therapist or a special educator requires you to put aside your emotions and put your client/students first. And don't just do it for the money, do it because you want to make an impact on lives those who require special assistance. They did not ask to require extra assistance, and they did not ask to be able to conform to special norms.
Societal norms.
Please always bear this in mind if you want to be a behavioral therapist or work with people who require special needs. And if you do not have what it takes, please do not be one. Yeah, some background. My sister is a very feisty person.
Yeah, she's really sassy.
Yeah, very sassy.
But I think one of the parts where she said like, they did not ask to require. I think it's mean to say like, the persons in the spectrum, they did not ask to be born with, to have to require assistance from special needs educators or behavioral therapists. So yeah, like, I mean, based on the video, I think that you have, Rose, you have a lot of experience in, dealing with children in the spectrum. Like number one, I guess, what do you agree with like the statement earlier? I think she will say yes, but yeah, do let us know what
Which
do you
statement?
think. This one, yours
The one that Hira said. But more importantly, that guy only walked away with a warning.
Yeah.
Not to shatter some people's glass or like reality. That was a lady. It should not matter. That was a lady.
That was a lady?
Yeah, I didn't know. That's why when she told me that it was a lady, I was like, oh, okay. Oops. Anyway, the lady. Yes, the lady.
Because your gender should not matter, because we benefit when there are the students and the whole society and industry benefits when there's more genders, because right now for sure it's more female, but yeah.
That's true.
Please consider joining the special needs industry, because you will learn a lot more about yourself. Okay, sorry, yes. Not to digress.
So, like, do you think, what do you think of what current sister said?
The message is saying that be prepared lah. Like, it's not easy. Be aware. Like, mentally prepare yourself with knowledge and strategies, I would say, to enter this industry, because it's not an easy industry, which to me sounds, I'm not trying to simplify anyone who works in the industry, but don't tell me any job you go, you don't prepare for the job.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, of course it's going to be hard. You went through many years of learning about the brain, the mind, to become a behavioral therapist, right? So there is no way it's going to be an office job, right? It's not a way it's going to be a 9 to 5 job. So yes, be prepared, but I do not know being prepared, shouldn't that also fall, being prepared and then also the ideology of safety first. Like, I have never understood people who put safety aside. So if you are preparing yourself for any job, you need to understand the scope of the job. And I personally feel that safety comes first. So I'm not too sure I'm not a therapist. Let's put it out there. I'm not a therapist, but I have to, in my line of work, I have to encourage and guide students in certain behaviors and calm them down when they are escalating. So I can imagine the challenge, one-to-one some more. Like there's no other teacher to support that particular therapist, or no other therapist to support that person. So I know it's hard, but like, at what point do you push aside, stop I want to teach you this learning, I want to teach you so badly that you risk safety. That you risk safety of physical safety, mental safety, and emotional safety. Like, that was the point. If the therapist wanted to teach a certain routine so badly, do you have to like put that kid, the mouth in the hand in the mouth, is it?
Yeah. She stuffed the fist in the mouth.
Like, is he going to put hand in the mouth when he is 7 years old, when he's 17 years old, when he's 27 years old? No, right? So if it's not going to be a lasting tool, maybe that was the idea, to stop some other behavior by I would say there cannot be. Okay, my point is, if you want to teach something to the child, be it special needs or not, safety needs to come first. And if your strategy challenges safety, how is it a good strategy? So why are you doing it? How is it a dignified choice for you as a person teaching it and the person who's learning it from you.
Yeah. So to have this lady walk away with just a warning, I think it's very lame.
And also, I think the latest update is that the police left it. They said that the video is not enough evidence or something like that to charge or to arrest. What do you? Yeah, that's the latest news.
Because I kind of like when this happened, when this whole thing started, like it started going viral that one night. The first thing I thought of, like, the legal system is not going to stand behind the family. That's the first thing I thought of. Like, I know the kids are suffering. I know the therapist is doing something wrong, but the thing that could save the situation was a strong legal system that stands behind persons who cannot speak for themselves. But clearly, it's not working, right? Because
the system failed.
Yeah.
9 minutes not enough, investigation not clear, no physical harm. Like, not all harm are physical, you know.
Yes.
And some physical on harm or not harm because the child's not verbal.
Yeah.
I think they want to see blood spilled and heads chopped off.
Cuts.
You know, it's like to make some kind of association with Black Lives Matter is when someone died, then there's like many people died before George Floyd. Many people died. But when that escalated, then there's like businesses affected. When bottom line is affected, then there's some kind of advocacy and policy change. How can we expect that to change for a child? By the time you change, the child not a child anymore.
Yeah.
Or this person could also have very good connections in the wherever in high offices. You know? Yeah. It's similar to that guy who video film.
Oh yeah, the NUS guy who upskirt and then he got away because he had a very promising future.
Yeah, he has a good future, you know, so we don't want to spoil it.
A1 student.
Let him go with a warning. It could be the same thing.
Yeah.
It could be. And then that's what shouldn't be the case. Like a justice system will not be perfect ever.
For sure.
The people who carry it need to consider certain changes over time. I'm sure that right now, if there is no law in writing to say that if a person has special needs, there needs to be some certain kind of like leniency in how you view a case. Like if you demand a 40-minute, I'm sure if there was a 40-minute recording, they'd be like, not enough. Right or not? Like, 40 minutes is not enough. Because how long is therapy? Is it 2 hours? Is it how many days? Over how many weeks? You can expand it to a whole argument, right? And like just like the physical hurt, like you don't see physical hurt, but what defines hurt? And this is for people who cannot speak for themselves. Like, how can you equate neurotypical logic for neuroatypical individuals? It's not fair. But when all the news from the police came out, I'm like, I expected this. I'm sadly expected this. So I'm always hoping that people don't stop the conversation there.
Yeah, I think that's very important to just continue advocating and speaking up about it.
Yeah.
Which is why we felt like we need to do this podcast, because I think everyone should know that it's not right. I mean, in general, like you can't treating a neurotypical child like that or like in a bad way is already bad. What more, like what you said, I think what Rose said, like the strong point was people who cannot have voice, like they don't know how to say. Like I'm pretty sure the boy, I think his name is Ali. I think Ali can't tell. Like he can't tell his mom, like, oh, you know, he
doesn't know that
my therapist hurt me.
Like in his mind, he's saying it, but we don't see it.
Yeah, we don't, because he can't express it.
Yeah.
So like you guys have to just educate yourself about it, because like what, again, to just quote Rose just now, like some people can hide it so well that you don't know, and they mask it so well you don't know, and I think education and awareness is really important. And I just #justice for Ali. I think he doesn't as a child, he doesn't and the sad thing is like he cannot even express it.
Yeah.
He can't even say. He can't tell you.
He's so young. He doesn't have the skills and the data in his brain to tell him, what can I do if I feel this? This emotion feels this. He doesn't have that data. So that the therapist was supposed to
teach, right?
Yeah, supposed to facilitate, these things better.
Yeah, and it's a long process. Like, if people expect change, right? in a person with autism, the change is lifelong. No, like what you see a child learn to speak in the first few years of their life, probably this person will take his whole life to learn. So that patience is quite a challenge, lah.
Yeah.
But you have to slowly and like what's the word? Make it a routine, make it a norm, so that it enters their mind slowly. And it's not the same for all persons. I'm just saying for this particular child, it might not be now, but it might be later on. So you cannot push, if you're the therapist, you want to push this particular learning, you should have already been trained to know that it's not going to come fast.
Like immediate lah, it takes time.
And then try to challenge the child. Because sometimes you can challenge and push the limit, but so little only, not so much.
The key takeaway I get from the video is the same as what I learned from the NUS case. The NUS case is if I have a good future in the education system, right, I will walk away scot-free. So the second one over here, the key takeaway is if I want to abuse people, I just become a behavioral therapist. Yeah, that's the key takeaway.
Which is like totally a bit weird.
It's not the right thing. Like I think another thought process I had was, it should not matter where your education came from, where your future is leading you. And like your family, your connections, you should have thought about all of that before you do any unkind action to any human being.
Agreed.
Yeah, exactly.
You think NUS is going to save you? How far can they save you? Because there are so many of us who are still angry at that person, right? And it's not him from the anger. Like your parents, not parents, your connections can save you until how far? Maybe in our country, if you're a certain level of status and power, it can save you. But people are going to remember you for the harm that you did, because that's the emotional effect of your actions. People probably won't even remember your name. We don't know all the names, right? But we know what they did.
Yeah.
This has been a very enjoyable topic for me.
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And we have Rose to thank for.
Yeah.
For giving us all this insightful information. It's more of like a education, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like it's a learning. I feel like I'm in class.
Yes, I learn.
It's like teacher Rose, like
teaching me things which I need to know about.
Yeah.
Is this occupational hazard?
No, but like I said in the beginning, I think it's important which is why we feel that we need to talk about this in our podcast, because people need to know the basics of what ASD is. How can they, like you can't even, now we know that we can't even spot it like off the top of our head, it's or like just by looking at it, looking at the person, and things that we can or cannot say, the terminologies, to understand them even more or a bit better. And we hope that you guys also find this episode like enlightening, and that you understand a little bit more and have some like food for thought. And I really encourage you guys to go and like Google like what these different institutions do.
What to Google?
Sorry?
You want me to suggest what to Google? Like,
please share with us.
Like I cannot give everyone a specific thing to research, but you may want to start with Autism Resource Center. That is
ARC, right?
ARC. Then you can find out about families who have autism. I know of several families who started like blogging their autism journey. So search Singapore Autism Journey. It's a very common term. Like you can search it for UK, you can search it for Australia, for China. You can literally see different kind of stories. But the term is autism journey. You can just read every single school's like mission statement or like profile page. Schools like Meta School, Minds, what else? APSN, Pathlight School. So many schools in Singapore. I think 19 schools are special needs in Singapore to see what they're doing.
Sis, I did not know that there were 19 special needs schools in Singapore. Even I don't know. I'm embarrassed that I don't know that.
Don't let it stop you.
Yeah, but this is important. Like, I'm glad that you shared this information. I bet you a lot of people also don't know that we're 19 schools.
Yeah,
Okay?
I only know 14. I don't know 19. Okay, the other thing I want to ask is if anyone, any kind soul out there who wants to some sort of like volunteer their time to to be part of the schools, these special schools, where can they go to?
Is it even possible for people to volunteer, to help, or to campaign or something?
Challenging to say for every school and every campaign, because for some institutions, they will not just let in random volunteers because the students need familiarity. And not in the faces of the volunteers, but in the approach the volunteers can give them. So if the volunteers have never met them, don't know what they need, it's going to be hard to volunteer.
Right.
There are some companies, from what I've observed, is that the schools have associated themselves with companies. So these companies may send repeated volunteers to go and help themselves and associate themselves with the schools. So if you want to give your time, approach a school directly, because they all have their different needs and structures. So they would know best how to allow volunteers, because certain schools may have internship programs. For those of you who are youths and want to give this a go, as far as I know, the internship is quite eye-opener lah. Really, you will really learn a lot on the ground, and that's a good way for the youth to start. Because I'm not sure, do you guys know your demographic?
Our demographics actually quite. Interns maybe I don't think it fits our demo, but interestingly there's a lot of females in our demographics.
Maybe not. Then if they already have full-time jobs and just want to assist and help, then reading about it will help you be more prepared when you actually go into volunteer about it. Because when you volunteer, being smiley and nice sometimes may not be enough, because the pace is very fast. When the teacher says, come help me with this, come help me with that, or the school says, okay, they're having this, the schedule is damn fast. It's always very fast one. So kind of know what you're entering when you get a briefing, of course, from the different schools before the event starts. And probably if you want to volunteer, not in COVID time lah.
Oh yeah, for
sure. Or maybe,
but I know many schools need funding. Many schools need a lot of funding in terms of donations.
Yeah.
So look that up also if you can. Do what you can lah.
Right. Yeah. Maybe the volunteer wouldn't be in like a face-to-face kind of setting with the students. It could be, giving their services to, say, the school wants a video to be made, or maybe a website to be developed. All those kinds of other off-face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good information also. If you guys want to volunteer, then you just have to approach the school directly, ask them what
they need help with. Yeah, I think that would be best lah.
Yeah, that would be best. Okay, it has been over an hour long already, but I hope this has been really an educational episode for any listeners. Any of our listeners out there lah.
Yeah.
Rose, thank you again for being part of this episode.
And thank you for sharing, all of the knowledge that you have, with us and to all of our listeners. As always, I love to do disclaimers. So just in case anyone who listens, if we in our conversations, if we had accidentally used the wrong terminology or we jumped the gun on certain things, we like to apologize as much as possible.
It wasn't our intent.
Yeah, as much as possible, we ensure that we stick to the correct terminologies, which is why we asked Rose about how do we properly address persons in the spectrum and all of that. So yeah, I just wanted to put it out there that we do not mean any malice, or that's not our intent. Sometimes when we chat, we tend to, especially because now we are actually learning also. Yeah, this is also something that we don't, the terms that we use is not something, the terminologies are not something that we use every single day.
Yeah.
So
if we sound stupid, it's not because we wanted to sound stupid, it's because we are stupid.
Yeah, because you don't know. So
no, it's okay, guys.
Yeah, so remember to quote Rose, it is okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
But you need to know.
Yeah, you need to know. All right. So thanks again, Rose, for joining us in
Thank you
this
very
call.
much.
Y'all better, listen to this and educate yourselves.
Yeah.
So thanks, Rose. We really appreciate it a lot. We wish you all the best. And we wish that you continue on with your
to fight the good fight.
Yeah, to fight on and educate and educate and raise awareness on ASD.
Thank you guys also for giving me a platform. I've always wanted to share what I do know, but I don't know what avenue to use. And you guys,
welcome to Teh Talk.
Yeah, and I appreciate. I think the community will appreciate any person who speaks for them. Like no matter how small your audience or how large, the larger the better, of course. But like every small action has a ripple effect. So I hopefully, inshallah, this persons who listen to the podcast start doing something on their own, no matter how small.
Inshallah, that's our hope as well.
Definitely. Okay, this has been episode 9. You need to know about autism.
Thanks, Rose.
All right, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.